Hello everyone, this is Mr. Berry, and today we're talking about drawing in plein air, specifically drawing with graphite or pencil. And we're going to start out by looking at this piece that's part of the collection at the Nelson-Atkins. It is a graphite drawing by the artist Ross Eugene Brought, and it's called Sea Grape. And it is a drawing from the Marina Key in the British Virgin Islands. So this is an actual location, and the artist probably went to this location and did some sketches and then possibly finished this in his studio. But I wanted to check out some of the different values and some of the different things that we're seeing here as we're looking at this wonderful piece. So as we're looking first, let's take a look at this branch right here. And we can notice how this branch definitely has a very, very high light, and then it's got a nice dark shadow down the middle. On the other side, it has slight reflection with a little bit of darkening on the other edge. So when you're looking at branches, when you're looking at the trunks of trees, be aware that you're probably going to have about 3 different values within that one area. And that's going to make it look more three-dimensional. This is just so incredible that he did right here. I really like the way that he has created these wonderful variations in value all throughout the piece. Now let's look at his composition. In the last video, we talked about the rule of thirds. And in the rule of thirds, you're basically breaking it down into 3 sections. So divide a third here, and then a third here, and of course a third over here. So 1, 2, 3. Now, notice, as I lay my pen down right here on that first third, what is located there? It's the tree. The tree is right on that first third, and that draws your eye to this location right here. And also notice that even though this is on the third, how this branch goes across. This is a very common thing for artists to do, is to frame the area right in through here where the point of interest is, because it's drawing your eye through this diagonal to the sunset, which is right here. You have your horizon line where the ground meets the sky. In this situation, is where the water meets the sky with these wonderful clouds very lightly in the background. And notice that it is also on the third. Okay, so that's where, and this is what we talked about. This is probably where your eye is drawn the most within a piece of art, as artists have kind of discovered throughout the years. So here we are in the woods, and in the woods I've been walking around for a little while, and I'm noticing some incredible trees and some nice grassy areas. And first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stop, and I'm going to use my viewfinder, and I'm looking at that tree right there. And I'm noticing how if I divided this up into the rule of thirds, that tree could become my center of interest like we talked about. So I'm starting with my 6H pencil. The H stands for hard, and I'm just going to simply come in and I'm going to very, very lightly go ahead and draw my rule of thirds right here, those lines that we talked about earlier for composition. And this is going to come across this way. That. Don't worry about it if they're not perfectly straight, as long as you get the idea of where things are. And then as I'm looking at what I'm drawing, I'm going to go ahead and hold my pencil sideways, and right in through here is the base of that tree. And it comes up this way. I'm going to go ahead and take the branches all the way off the top. So there's one coming down this way, and then up. And right now, this is just a really, really quick sketch. It's not going to be anything that I want to come in and put any shading in or anything, but this tree is just an incredible thing that I'll be able to use for composition especially. So I'm going to start with that, just like that. Now I'm going to switch pencils, and I'm going to go on and use my HB. Now, if you know anything about pencils, we talked earlier about an HB being the same as a number 2. So if you don't have a set of just regular drawing pencils. An HB will be just fine, or number 2. Holding your pencil the same way. And now I'm going to make it a little bit darker. And I'm going to start drawing in the lines a little bit more definite. And I'm noticing, first of all, where those dark shadows are going to be, because that's going to be my next step, is to come in and really put in some of those shadows. I'm also noticing where the sun is coming from. The sun is coming in from the right. There's some more branches coming off of there, but I'm going to add those later. And then, of course, the big branch that comes across and goes all the way across the paper that way. I'm changing my holding of the pencil just a little bit so I can get this a little bit better. If you've never drawn on a vertical basis, it can be a little bit challenging to hold your pencil just one direction. Okay, so there is the main part of my tree. And now I'm going to go on the softer side and get me a softer pencil. And instead of a hard pencil, it's going to be a brittle pencil. This is a 2B, and we'll see how that works. I'll come in and, oh yeah, that works a lot nicer. And just start working in some of those shadows. So pressing down hard, I'm just going to work on this one branch right here. So right in through here. And I'm going to start working with some hatching and cross hatching. So in here, this is hatching. I'm just using some lines to show those. And through here, we'll do a little bit of hatching. I'm also noticing there's a bunch of textures here on the side of the tree. I'll put those in. And then some more hatching in through here. And then let me capture that side of the tree a little bit better. All right, I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to keep working on it to kind of get the shadows done, do some more hatching, and then we'll come back. So I took my soft pencil and I came in here and I added some more shading, as you can see, using my hatching marks and through here, really pushed down with that soft pencil, and you can see how dark I've been able to get it in some places. I'd like to come in and add more texture, and I'm going to do that with my trusty HB just by coming in here and adding some more lines on the inside of where that bark would be in some different places. And that's going to... And just a reminder that you are doing your drawing. You're not doing a photograph. So as you are looking, remember that what you're looking at is just that resource. So if it doesn't look exactly like what you've got up there, that's perfectly okay. I have simplified this tree a little bit so that there's not as many branches on it. Now what I want to do is I want to kind of add some more depth to it, because I came in and I added a little bit of a horizon line. Notice where that horizon line is. The horizon line is right on that line going across for your rule of thirds. And I'm going to come in and I think do some very light shading. There's just a whole bunch of little trees and bushes in here, so I think I'll do that by adding some texture. I'm not necessarily coming in and drawing anything definitely that I see, but adding this texture just kind of makes it look like there's something back there. And then maybe coming in and just taking my pencil adding a little bit of shading to make it look like there are leaves back there. And I'll come in and make those more defined as we're going. Okay. And as I'm coming over this way, I'm noticing there's a nice shadow here on the ground. So going back to my soft pencil, I'm getting an even softer one this time. I'm going to come in and I'm going to add a shadow, again holding my pencil sideways. And this is where that shadow is coming, right through there. It's nice and dark. And there's also, believe it or not, there's another one coming down this way where some of those branches are coming. And I think I'll take a little bit of my pencil and add some darkened spots back here in the back. And then add some grasses up here in the front. I'm going to kind of look at the diagonal. Notice the diagonal I did with my shadow, okay? Because this is my point of interest, this part right here. That's where that line came down. There's also some larger trees back here in the background. I'm going to just very lightly put some of those in. Like that. And there is my sketch. And again, it needs a little bit more work. I think I'll take it back to the studio and add some more details to it, and then we'll take a look at it later. And here is my finished sketch. And what I did when I took it back to the studio was I darkened up my shadows in several areas. I just also decided that a softer pencil would help to make those look even darker, because I really wanted this contrast between your light and the dark. The other thing that I did was I took my kneaded eraser and I erased up some of the smears that had taken place in between the branches and some other places, because that helps again with the contrast. It just helps to clean it up a little bit. So I encourage you to go outside and to try some of the techniques that I've given you, and don't be afraid to draw.